Normally I recreate dishes from somewhere in the real world, but this time is a bit different. Oh, hold on a second. Hey there. So a few weeks back, Bandai Namco Entertainment reached out to me and asked if they could sponsor a video where I bring some of the dishes from their new game Dragon Ball Z Kakarot to life. Check out the link in the description of this video to find out how you can get that game. As you can see, being a longtime Dragon Ball fan from way back, I said yes. Even though I kind of had no idea what I was getting myself into, but hey, turns out along the way I learned a lot of really cool stuff, like how to make really good sushi rice, or how to make this seriously awesome fruit jello, or a quick refresher on how to whip up my favorite go-to meal of all time, fried rice. Now some of you might be asking, Andong, what does all of this delicious food have to do with the new game Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Well, let me explain. I got to check out the game, and even though I'm not a big gamer, it was pretty cool and nostalgic to immerse myself in that universe that still feels still very familiar to me. You can do epic battles or more lighthearted little side quests. You can also just hang out with your favorite Dragon Ball characters. Mine was always Krillin, by the way. So if you're up for a trip down Dragon Ball Z memory lane, the game is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. Link below. But now, here's where food comes in. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is about way more than just battling. Like, one of the cool new twists in the game is that as you play, you obtain different food items, which you can then use to cook meals and make your character stronger. For example, you can go catch a fish, and then together with rice and fish eggs, you can make this fresh seafood rice bowl. Translated into the real world, this kind of looks like a riff on sushi to me, so let's see what we can do. Sushi rice is all about the seasoning. So while I have some rice going in a rice cooker, I combine Japanese rice vinegar, sugar and salt in a little saucepan and get that to a simmer, whisking until everything is dissolved. And that is basically it. Sushi rice seasoning. Mix that into your steaming hot rice as soon as that's done. Careful not to mush it up too much, and cover with a damp kitchen towel to prevent from drying while the rice comes down to room temp. Now for the fish, I went for salmon. There's not that much to do really, except for making sure that what you're slicing here is actually safe to consume raw. With your wet hands, grab a ball of rice and shape it into a log. Keep your hands wet because that rice is very sticky. Apply just a little smear of wasabi, I like to use my finger, top with a piece of salmon and try to fake being professional by applying the old two-finger press. Sushi is an art form in itself. I'm sure I'm doing 1,000 things wrong here, but this looks very passable to me, and let me tell you, it tastes really good. Now, for the dish itself, I decided to use this nigiri mold, which works alright. The main advantage for this purpose was that I could get very uniform and more computer game looking nigiri. Next, I grabbed a plate and added a nice little mountain of sushi rice. I cut that in half to get the look from the game right, but instead of getting a plastic separator, I decided to go for lettuce, which does the trick really well. Then I added my sushi to the other side. Looks good for now, but what is missing are the fish eggs. And that probably makes this the most expensive recreation I've ever done on this channel, because let me tell you, that stuff is not cheap. But you know what? It looks so juicy and so appetizing, it might be worth splurging on. I'm gonna taste this one later. Now let's take a quick break from seafood and talk fruits. Specifically this dish called fruit gelatin, and apparently it contains both real pieces of fruit as well as fruit juice. My real life equivalent will be this agar-based fruit cake jello. I gotta give a shout out here to Palin's Kitchen, which is where I got the base recipe from. Everything starts with cold water, to which I am simply adding a bit of sugar and agar powder. There are many different types of agar powder, so make sure to check the box for instructions on how much to use. It can vary a lot. Whisk regularly while you bring this up to a boil and simmer for 2 minutes until the agar has fully dissolved. Pour a little layer in a mold of your choice and start evenly spreading your fruit. I went for mango, kiwi, raspberries and blueberries. Then you add the agar water until they are just about submerged, and while that sets, we can start making the next layer. In the game, the recipe calls for premium milk, which I decided to interpret as coconut milk. Same idea, sugar, pinch of salt, agar, and simmer for 2 minutes. You want to make sure that the first layer has set on the surface before you move forward, but that usually happens fairly quickly. So now carefully pour the hot agar coconut milk on top and let this set. In the meantime, I make a blend of different juices. I used peach, apple, and a bit of banana. I'm sure you could use a lot of other things as well. Give it the agar treatment like before, and then spread a last layer on top of your cake before you let this entire thing cool down and rest in the fridge for at least 2 hours. After which, you will hopefully be rewarded with this extremely satisfying looking result. Now first you want to separate the cake from the mold with something flat, then stick something small in between them to break the vacuum that holds the cake in the pan, and then it should easily slide out once flipped, giving you another chance to marvel at this surreal dessert, which I'm happy to report does not just look cool, but actually makes for a great, fruity, and not too unhealthy snack. It's also just super fun to work with because you can present it in so many creative ways, so this one is definitely a keeper. Another dish from the game I just had to try was crumbly fried rice. According to the game, it contains chicken, egg, and carrots, and that makes it sound like something I'm definitely having a couple times a week anyway. First, I heat up a good glug of oil in my deep cast iron skillet, in which I'm then briefly frying the white parts of a few scallions. Set them aside once those flavors have infused, and in the meantime mix 2 eggs with a dash of cooking wine and a pinch of salt. Fry them briefly in the scallion oil and get them out while they're still a bit undercooked. Now, I always prefer going for pre-cooked meat and fried rice, like these oven roasted salt and pepper chicken drumsticks. You want to dice those up and then into the pan they go, along with your scallions from before and some finely diced carrot. Now I am adding my rice, and it's essential to use at least completely cooled down rice, ideally even leftovers from the day before. My secret weapon is this potato masher. It breaks up the rice perfectly, and at this stage you can also add the eggs back in and break them up a bit. Time to season the rice. I go for salt, MSG, a bit of black bean paste for an interesting sophisticated note, and then finally some soy sauce. Now give your rice a very good stir now until evenly seasoned, and then to get some extra flavor and some shine into our shiny fried rice, we are adding a bit of sesame oil and finishing with a sprinkle of green scallion bits. This is what I call fried rice. It almost melts in your mouth. And then for presentation, I like to shape it with my little rice scoop. And it's time to taste all of this goodness. Let me start with my fried rice, which I am a master of fried rice, so I have no doubt that this will be good. Fried rice, can't go wrong. Just the way I like it. Perfect amount of egg. Very tasty, very good. And now, hold on. So this, I think it looks the part. This amount of fish eggs is truly ridiculous. Let me get a sushi first. I think it looks so juicy. I splurged on the salmon. This was really expensive, but it was so worth it. It's like butter. It melts on your tongue. It's, oh. I want a second one, but first I need to try this ridiculousness. Check it out. What is this? Completely ridiculous bite of sushi rice with fish eggs. I'm not sure if I can handle this much umami in one bite. It's very, very, very fishy, very umami, but like addictively so. Should I dip it in some soy sauce? Just a tip. Oh, so good. But this needs balance, guys. This needs balance. I think even something as simple as cucumber would really do the trick here. And now let me try some dessert. Ooh. It looks so cool, I just can't get over it. Feels a little bit like you're chewing water. The texture is a little bit odd, but once you get over that, the flavors are amazing. Like the coconut layer and the fruit juice layer, they add perfect contrast to the super nice and like actually fruity layer. Thanks again to Bandai Namco Entertainment for sponsoring this video. I had a lot of fun recreating dishes from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Don't forget, if you're interested, to check out the link in the description, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. No. Comment.